Welcome to video 1 of the new kitchen. Mainly, we have natural light, which is just complete game changer in my opinion. I mean, everyone needs that natural light for natural luxury, which equals a new naturally luxurious recipe increase, right? And so that being said, I'm going to overhaul, and I am in the midst of overhauling my whole camera setup. In the past, we didn't have good audio. I realized the angles weren't great. It was all about the content. It's all about making good recipes and giving you good philosophies. It's never been about the gear. And I don't want it to be that way either. But that being said, I am invested in a lot of gear and invested in my skill set to be able to use that gear, because the gear is just the tool. But the way you use it is the important part. Even the audio right now is just going to be improved in general, as you can already hear. So please just expect better videos. Bear with me as they're coming out. But my goal of putting out, one or more videos a week, hopefully is going to happen. And with your support, the Patreon people here, you guys have been with me for a while. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. Today's recipe, we're going to stay in the north, just like last month. Last month we did a recipe called nam khanoon, which is essentially a Thai bolognese. I wanted to do a dish that will pair with it, that's uncommon, but very easy to make, especially if you've done my previous recipes and you understand the building blocks a little bit of making curry paste and pounding things. This salad is going to feature jackfruit, none other than young jackfruit. This particular salad is known as a dtam style salad, just like som tam, which dtam is the action of pounding. So this is called dtam khanoon. The jackfruit, you're gonna be like, where the hell do I get this? Derek, you're talking about jackfruit now? I can't find jackfruit. Where the hell do I get this? Trader Joe's. Very different than the jackfruit that you let ripen, where it's very yellow and it actually tastes like juicy fruit in my opinion. This is all about using young jackfruit. And the common preparation in Thailand is you have a young jackfruit, which is smaller, it's skinnier, and you boil the whole thing. You cut it into slices first actually, and you boil it. And once it's boiled, you're pounding it up with salad ingredients and you're stir frying it. Stir frying salad, it's kind of in between. Now the next question that you guys are asking me is, Derek, how are you using canned products? We're making things from scratch. We're on Patreon here. Are you even a chef? First of all, just because something's in a can doesn't mean it's an inferior product. Often it is. Canned corn when it's peak July, peak season in the East Coast of the United States, probably not the best decision. But canned corn has a place in society, and so does this. As long as you're finding young jackfruit that's in a brine, typically the ingredient is just jackfruit and water. This one has salt and citric acid, obviously preservatives, but it's bringing us to the point of where it already tastes very similar to the young jackfruit that is boiled anyways if you buy it in Thailand. If you buy a fresh one and you boil it, there's not a lot of flavor difference, and you're still able to get the jackfruit. And if you've ever been wondering how restaurants in the US are doing young jackfruit curries or young jackfruit dishes like this, they're using canned. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. It's how it is. Enough talking, let's get to the recipe. We're just gonna boil this Trader Joe's jackfruit. Now this is not an advertisement for Trader Joe's, okay? You can buy it wherever you want. We're just making a point here. And first we can examine how it's soft. You can see that? So it's already been cooked. But just to get off a bit of the brine taste, we're going to do a quick boil. This dish is all about having some nice garnishes and crispies. For this one as well, I really want to go from, don't cut it this way, cut it this way. So you want it to be long pieces, so you can kind of cut down first like so, kind of give yourself a flat surface, and then go through it here. And the more even you do this, the better the fried garlic's obviously going to be. And just a couple maku lime leaves, also known as kaffir lime leaves as well. These are gonna be to fry, to also go as a garnish. You see this right here? If you find it like that, it was probably sitting in water. It's not the best quality leaves I have here. You can see the difference actually even in color here. This one's a bit younger, a bit fresher, a bit more luxurious. So yeah, just remove that center part there. Lastly, let's have some chilies that we're gonna fry. Put them in there. For the paste ingredients, we're gonna basically make a lower grade curry paste. And by that I mean it's got the chilies, it's got the shallots, of course it's got the shrimp paste and the garlic, but you're minusing out a lot of other elements of a normal blown out gang pet or a red curry paste essentially. And so we have the chilies, we're gonna do a little bit of garlic, shallots, ginger, and galangal. We're gonna do a mixture. I learned it this way before and I love it this way. Often you'll see it with just galangal, but the ginger and galangal combination here is quite luxurious. And they're not replacements, they're not substitutable for each other, but in this particular recipe, they may be, if you only have galangal, it's fine. If you only have ginger, it's fine. But I'm not saying they're substitutes, don't get me wrong here. All right, so if there's shallots here that are magically peeled already, trying to run away from me, we have a little bit of ginger. Grab my peeler over here. So this is actually the easiest way to peel ginger, I would say. You can use a spoon, but this will work great. You basically only need that much ginger. That will be just fine right there. We'll have our galangal, it's quite a nice piece of galangal here. Just gonna take a little knob there. This will kind of peel as well a little bit. You don't necessarily need to peel this, but it just depends on how mature it is and what mood you're in, but there is a lot of flavor in the peel. That's probably enough right there. And a little bit of lemongrass. Actually, it's quite optional. I didn't even describe it when I was saying this before, but we're gonna put it in now. This recipe would not be this recipe without the garlic. And perhaps the most important thing at all is the chilies. I'm using a smaller Thai variety here called prukchinda. Lastly, we need to use some shrimp paste. In Thailand, in the north especially, there's a variety that's called gapi khao, which is like white style shrimp paste, so it's processed a little bit differently. That would be extremely ideal for this, but we don't have that here, and I doubt you will find that in the United States, so just use whatever shrimp paste you have. Again, this is not a vegan recipe, but if you want to veganize it, omit the shrimp paste. You need to do whatever makes your heart happy. Oh my gosh, every time I open this up, I love the smell. If it's good shrimp paste, you see the little heads in it, the little eyes rather. If it's a good shrimp paste, you are in a good place. Great shrimp paste doesn't smell bad. There's a lot of, I watch a lot of videos and people are like, oh, it's so funky, it smells so bad, but it makes your food taste so good. I'm sick of hearing that. All right, so now onto the paste. And just first and foremost, please don't bring out the food processor. Let's just use a pestle and mortar. It's not that hard. Plus, it'll get you very intimate with your ingredients. You'll be smelling everything, and maybe you'll feel better about yourself because you've done some actual work and the machine didn't do it. In all seriousness, you can use a food processor if you want, but we're gonna use our trusty wooden mortar and pestle for this because we want texture. And after all, this is a dtam style salad, right? So it's a pounded style salad. Generally speaking, pounded style salads are made in wooden mortar and pestles or clay mortar and pestles. Start with some chilies here. This might be a little bit more difficult than you're used to because you're using a wooden and not a granite mortar, and they're dried chilies. You really only need to get it to like that stage because the other wet ingredients are going to break it down. So actually at this point we're going to illustrate how you can do this. We can go with the lemongrass, the galangal, the ginger, all at once. Give it a little smell. It smells insane. Like just the luxury already. By the way, these are not good for what I'm doing. They're moving too much. I've never used this before. They're usually for pots. I would not recommend this at all. You see how rough that is? That's okay. That's absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Let's go in with the garlic and the shallots right now. I like to always show you guys that you don't need to always pound every ingredient down like many recipes say when you want to find paste. Sometimes you just put everything in at once and it's beautiful. Look at this texture, okay? Now it's time for the little bit of tapi. And lastly, we have our trusty jackfruit here. You can see I have it in a container now. I actually didn't finish this recipe yesterday, hence the new alpha change, if you haven't noticed. But it just goes right in the fridge. You boil it, it lasts forever. It smells great. Pretty much almost there, you know. We don't need it to be too fine. That's about it. Now let's just pound up a little bit of garlic in the peel for this. We're gonna infuse the oil with that first, then add this paste mixture, cook it out, and season it, and essentially you're done. Add the crispies, and then you have a tam khanoon, which is a jackfruit style dish from the north of Thailand, not the northeast. I'll go right in with the shallots here. Make sure you're moving it around and the heat is not too high. You just want it to be bubbling nicely. If you go too high on the heat right now, the outside is going to cook too quickly before it can get crispy. So just keep it moving and then adjust the heat as needed. Next we'll go onto our garlic. The heat is still kind of high, so be careful there. Make sure you keep stirring. We don't want this garlic to be hammered. And if there's little pieces of shallot still in here, it's okay. It's not gonna affect anything. Just make sure you grab it out. Or do a more effective strain, which I didn't do because my setup right now is kind of bootleg. And now we will reuse that oil yet again. Be very careful, don't burn yourself. You wouldn't have to dump the oil every time if you just have a strainer or some kind of spider to go in with it. Due to the fact that I've just moved, that tool somehow was misplaced. I'm gonna put these chilies in first. They'll be quick. Nice bright color there. Followed by the lime leaves. That a dump too. So one thing I forgot to mention for one of the garnishes, but it's not really a garnish, I think it's indispensable, are these little pork cracklings. You know, they're not puffed here yet. I will show you in a future video how I make these, but this is what turns into that luxurious crackling that you eat with the jackfruit salad. Again, this is not a vegan salad. If you want to put it through the veganizer, omit the pork, omit the shrimp paste, omit flavor, omit everything in your life. It's fine. Whatever makes you happy, honestly. That's all I want, for you to be happy. Go fairly high heat so they puff pretty quickly. This is like beautiful magic here. You hear this crunch? Are you seriously kidding me with that crunch? You gotta be kidding me. We're gonna reserve some of that infused oil there, but we're gonna infuse it a little bit further with just a little bit of garlic. Just until you smell the garlic, that's when you stop. We're not browning it necessarily. Right about now, and then let's go in with the jackfruit here. And you just want to stir it and cook it out. Cook it out until you can smell all the ingredients. You can smell the chilies, the shallots coming out. So you're doing a few things right now. We're getting some smoke flavor into the mixture. You're letting everything marry. And you're creating a happy life between these ingredients that are so beautiful. If you're coughing, it's a good thing. Always helpful to do these kind of things outside, because after years of experience of doing this inside, making my wife Emma's eyes hurt, I kind of tend to do these things outside at this point. It looks like it needs a little oil, so just grab that from your reserved oil there. You see you're really using the bottom of the ladle to kind of push it out and cook it. Season with just a little small pinch of sugar there. You don't even need to do that really, but I like to do it. And I like to do a little fish sauce as well. But if you put more shrimp paste or you're using a combination of white shrimp paste or salt, that's fine too. And your heat does not need to be too high here. Just give yourself a quick light bite here. Taste for seasoning. Dear Lord. You want notes of heavy savoriness, which is coming from, first and foremost, the shrimp paste, which you put in the paste itself, but then a little bit of fish sauce, but then most importantly, the smoke factor. The smoke factor is really what's going to take your food from here to so far above the camera that I can't even show you. So that part's really important. And you know, it's just a quick cook. Everything's cooked out quickly. So the ingredients aren't hammered. You're not sweating out shallots here. You're not doing all these things that you might think you need to do. Let's say if we didn't put the jackfruit in first. At least for my recipe here, you're not. We want everything to taste fresh, and that's about it. Let's just go to the plating now. I just realized I had a little bit of wild pepper leaves, also known as baichapu in Thai, so, you know, might as well also garnish with that. So here is the final dish.